telling, and I'll share a little bit more of what I heard. Even as the relationship with their troubled son grew more painful and volatile, Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle were never prepared to give up on him. A loyalty sources tell me they would still be showing those that loyalty today if they were still alive. They would not be blaming him, even though he did it.
For the home theater junkies out there, this year I made a big leap in my setup. The installation of a Valerian.
Multiple insiders tell me the couple spent years financially and emotionally propping up their son Nick, paying all of his bills, covering the cost of repeated treatments, and trying to keep him close to them no matter the personal or social cost. They paid for everything: housing, treatment, travel, all of it. Rob and Michelle truly believed if they just didn't abandon him, he'd be okay. They also insisted on bringing Nick along to nearly every high-profile event they went to, even if he wasn't welcome. Nick wasn't invited, but they brought him anyway. It caused tension because other stars didn't want to be around him. Sources say Nick's behavior was often explosive. He allegedly screamed at his parents in public, including at celebrity gatherings, humiliating them in front of friends and colleagues. He treated them terribly, a source tells me. He would yell at them, lash out, and Rob and Michelle would immediately jump in to defend him. The dynamic reportedly played out hours before the murders, as TMZ reported at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, where they were involved in what sources describe a very loud argument, audible to multiple guests. Rob and Michelle then left the party together. Behind the scenes, Michelle had confided to friends that she and Rob were at their breaking point. She would say, "We've tried everything," but even then, they still wouldn't turn their backs on him. And those closest to the couple.
All right, this is common between families that have people with mental illness, disabilities, whatever it may be, even veterans, right? Families that have people that came back from the war. So they loved him, even with his disability, and he would yell and scream at them. That's a disability. I imagine, was he misdiagnosed? It sounds like maybe Tourette. If he was yelling and screaming at him all the time, maybe Tourette's, maybe bipolar, maybe something, anger. But yeah, that's just horrible. And the parents, I can see how they were embarrassed, but they stuck up for him. And we do that with people with disabilities because they're not right. They're not bad people. And he might have been misdiagnosed. And this might have been something as easy as a pill would have fixed, right? But he was self-medicating. So, yeah, but just a bad situation. Let's let Mr. Popcorn Planet read a little bit more of this. Well, now it's all starting to come out how could he do it? Well, this probably mental illness that went untreated maybe for way too long, or wrong medication also can do that, just speaking from the experience. All right, so let's
People believe that loyalty would not have wavered even now. If Rob and Michelle were alive today, one source tells me quietly, they'd still be defending their son. Oh man, that just gives me chills, just how hard this is to have someone who's just so toxic, and it's your own son. What do you do? And a good parent doesn't give up. They don't. It's true. You try your damn best. But this Nick guy, man, again, I don't know him, but I'm reading a lot about him, and I had someone close to me who I trust literally called him a sociopath. Hated this guy. Said Nick was the absolute worst. Said the rest of the kids in that family and Rob and Michelle himself were so kind and gracious, some of the nicest people in Hollywood. And Nick literally was labeled a sociopath by my colleague. Literally compared him to Brian Koberger.
Oh, crap. You know what you have to do. to Nick. If you are an investigator, you might need to get his DNA and run it through the computer. I mean, was he 24/7 around his parents and always supervised, or did he have time to go out within the world and mingle a bit? There might be problems here. He might have done something worse. I mean, he might have done something before this or something, maybe, just to be safe. He might not even remember what he does. Who knows? This is great. This is. Let's listen to a little bit more of Mr. Popcorn World.
That's how much this guy thought this guy literally wasn't surprised when he heard the rumor. Oh, I bet you Nick did it. And turns out he was correct. So Nick did not have a lot of goodwill amongst people in town. High level people, everyone sort of knew this guy was trouble. And just how sad. Here's some chilling audio that's been released where he talks about destroying his parents' guest house.
I got totally spun out on uppers. I think it was coke and something else, and I was up for days on end, and I started punching out different things in my guest house.
Like a frame? Like what? Like a stuff?
No, I think I started with the TV, and then I went over to the lamp, and then progressive. Everything in the guest house got wrecked.
Did you punch the TV?
Yeah, I literally punched the TV.
Did you like lacerate your hands? I mean, that sounds bad.
Yeah, did you hurt yourself?
I don't even remember at this point.
At Bear Traits, we face challenges head on by innovating from every angle with 7 block.
So damn sad, so tragic, but clearly very, very troubled. Amidst all that, though, Bob and his wife, Michelle, stood by their son. I want.
Wow, just something crazy. You know, this can happen to any family. Anybody, even people, even some of the documentaries we watch. Normal people, everyday normal people that have no mental illnesses, no nothing. One day they just snap. It's crazy. What brings that to somebody? I don't know. Chemicals, radio waves. I'm not sure, but it's very freaky, man. It's pretty freaky. Now they're comparing them. You know, other people that knew them are comparing them to like a Brian Kohlberger. Well, then you got to do a full background check. You got to run his DNA through the computer. If he has a violent past like this, where he just erupts on people, he might be. I hate to say it to the rest of the family, but if he don't have 24-hour surveillance and he's on his own throughout the world, there's no telling what he's done. I mean, if he killed his own parents in a psychosis, he might have been in psychosis for a while. I mean, he's already explained how he's known for busting stuff up in people's houses and stuff. So, I don't know. This is crazy. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. And sub. And this is Mr. Popcorn. Hollywood Popcorn Planet, or Planet Popcorn Planet. I've watched this guy for a while. He's pretty good when he reports on this stuff. Let's listen to a little bit more.
I'll play a clip here. Kim found this. This is a clip from Being Charlie's promotion, where they were out there promoting this film. And I want to play this clip because it's just, I think, explains a lot of how great Rob and Michelle truly were.
I mean, we did get into fights over things, but ultimately it forced us to make the film better. I mean, we get into issues, and I would see, the whole process for me, I can just speak for myself. It did make me understand him a lot more and I think it made me a better father. Hopefully it did. I don't know, but I think that, and you'll see it in the film. What happens is, you know, if your kid is going through rough times, you know, the parent is, your main job is to keep your child safe. So I would do anything. I felt at a loss. So I would do anything that, as we say in the film, anybody with a desk and a diploma, I would listen to them. And the whole idea of tough love and you have to be a certain way. And it's not my nature. It's not the way I am built, but I went and did that.
Even amidst all the difficulties already having.
You know, and I think that, you know, at the end of the day, I know my child better than an expert does. And I probably should have trusted my own instinct. And that's one of the things I did learn about the whole experience.
Sadly, I don't know if he did know his son as well.
I think the bonding came not from the story itself, but from the fact that we were working on a movie together, and I could see him and I would think, in the form that he could express himself the best, which is making movies, because he has so much experience. And so seeing that sort of turned me around to be like, okay, I should probably...
No, sorry, I'm responding.
Oh, this would probably shut up and listen to him, because he knows a lot more about this. He knows I don't know anything, so I'll learn whatever he has to teach me.
I just think that's such a...
Oh, it's just so sad looking back on it now, knowing that how hard he worked as a father to support his son, and how his son...
Yeah, I'd say pretty freaky. Right? I mean, the kid would have been set for life. It seems like his parents really loved him. And even with his addiction, even with his mental health issues, no matter what, he wasn't going to be out on the streets. And, you know, for him to do something like this, there had to be something severely wrong with the kid. I mean, it's just crazy. You know, but if you look through these videos, now it's starting to come out where these people are coming out now and saying, oh, he was crazy. You know, he was, wherever they went, if he wasn't invited, the Rieners would still bring him to make him feel like he was part of something. And he would get violent at these parties or outings that they would go to. And he would get violent with them and yell and scream at them. And so, yeah, maybe he was just jelly. You know, I seen like that one lady was saying in the one video we were watching that he was jealous of his father and his grandfather for being famous. But it's not like they pushed him away and he wasn't around money or had a good home. You know, they paid for everything wherever he lived or whatever. So, yeah, that's very freaky. I'm interested to see how this murder occurred. We know this much. They left Conan O'Brien's at a certain time. Now, whether Nick's with them or not, a lot of people are saying now that they all left at a certain time and they got home. Now, I'd like to see what the coroner's report says of time of death. Were they in bed, or were they found in the kitchen or in a certain area where it wasn't long before after they got home he went nuts. Now, that would be something to find out. If they were in bed, then he probably did wait, you know, till they were sleeping. And when crazy. Pretty crazy. So there is some new info how they tracked down the son and what kind of condition he was in when they found him or contacted him or got a hold of him. So I might do that video next. I'm not sure. And see what Valdez said. His son looks like he wanted to attack him right then. They went to the Conan O'Brien party Saturday. Yeah, that's when this all happened, they think. They went to the party. It erupted. into a fight. They left. They got home, and sometime between midnight, whenever they left, and 3:30 in the afternoon the next day, these murders occurred. So it'll be interesting to see how this all unfolds. Pretty sad, but let's watch a little bit more of this. Try and make it till 20 minutes.
I know the words, guys. It's just it's brutal. It is truly brutal. We'll keep you updated as things progress here. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for all alerts, smash that thumbs up so this gets out there so people can learn more about this case. And let's not jump to massive conclusions or be super negative. A lot more is probably going to come out. We'll keep you posted as it does. We'll be live tomorrow talking about this and more news. So stay tuned here on Popcorn Planet.
All right, you folks, make sure you get over there and check out Mr. Popcorn Planet. Hold on, I'm looking for one other thing that just came out. And I think we might go ahead and check this out. It was just released.
So tasty, it could make Poseidon switch to a spoon. Wholly divine taste from the Greek gods.
Stop struggling with quiet video like thousands do. Sound up to 600% louder with Power Sound? Just click to add. Simple to use and free forever. Power Sound beyond maximum.
And we begin with the deaths of Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle, their son, now suspected in their murders. Thank you so much for being with us, everybody. I'm Michael Brownlee.
And I'm Colleen Williams. Today, Hollywood paying their respects to a prolific director, Rob Reiner, after he and his wife were killed in their Brentwood home over the weekend.
NBC4 News was the first to break the story last night, and today detectives are retracing the steps of their son, Nick, now being held with no bail on suspicion of murdering his parents.
Our investigative reporter, Eric Leonard, has learned more about his arrest. Joins us live in the newsroom right now with an update. Eric.
Hi, Colleen and Michael. Well, our law enforcement contacts now tell us Nick Reiner was tracked down by a group of detectives who are often sent out to make high-risk arrests. They say they spotted Reiner smoking on a sidewalk near Vermont and Exposition and say he may have ridden public transit to get there. LAPD robbery homicide detectives are trying to follow Nick Reiner's path from the family home in Brentwood to Exposition Park, where he was arrested Sunday night.
He was subsequently booked for murder.
Now inside LA County Jail, where he's on a no bail hold until he's charged and brought to court, which could happen in the next days. Several law enforcement sources tell us Nick Reiner didn't drive. And in the hours between the murders and the time he was caught, he may have walked south from Brentwood to the Metro Expo line, then ridden it to the Vermont station, very close to where he was arrested. The bodies of Rob and Michelle Reiner were discovered Sunday afternoon inside the couple's home in Brentwood. They'd attended a party with Nick at the nearby home of Conan O'Brien the night before. Sources familiar with what happened there tell NBC News Nick was behaving in ways that made other famous guests uncomfortable, and that Rob and Michelle Reiner shared their worries about Nick's health with other partygoers. Nick is 32 years old and had a long struggle with drug abuse. He'd spent time in and out of rehab, which inspired the 20...
All right, so they tracked his butt down, man. They think he walked from there. So there's probably footage of him on the railway, bus, whatever he took. There's probably footage of him. They probably tracked the whole thing down. And it'd be interested to see if there was footage inside the house or him leaving the property through the gate. He didn't drive. They think he walked out of there, so... Yeah, Valdez says that his invite to Conan O'Brien must have got lost in mail. Mine too. They never invite us to any of this stuff.
2015 film he co-wrote with his father called Being Charlie.
Charlie was.
In an interview with AOL to promote the film, Nick talked about his experiences in rehab and developing a new appreciation for his father after they worked together.
We didn't bond a lot as a kid. Like, he really liked baseball. I like basketball, and he could watch that with my brother, but baseball. But I just, when I saw him do that, and it was something that I'm interested in, I was like, wow, like, he really knows a lot. And like, it made me feel closer to him.
It's not clear yet if police believe the murders happened shortly after that Saturday night party or sometime on Sunday. The LA County Medical Examiner hasn't yet announced the causes or timing of their deaths. Nick Riener was in police custody for about 8 hours before he went through the booking process, so it is possible he has spoken to police about what happened. The next significant development we're watching for should be the decision from prosecutors on what charges to file. That could happen as soon as tomorrow. Live in the newsroom, I'm investigative reporter Eric Leonard, NBC4 News. Back to you.
All right, there you go, folks. We'll find out more. Hello, Kel. Yabba dabba doo. Let's see what Valdez said. He was arrested in a bad neighborhood. Yeah, well, who knows what the heck was going on, you know? Hopefully they get to the bottom of it. Interesting case. How gory is it? I have no idea. The worst thing might just be their throats cut or whatever, unless he just went nuts. Some of the footage I'm seeing when he's standing around his father, or he's got that crazy look in his eyes, man. I imagine he might have gotten mad that his parents were talking to other people saying, I don't know what's wrong with my son. He's got health problems or something, mental problems. And him hearing this as he's in front of all these rich, famous people might have triggered him. Right? Might have triggered him. He got jelly. Once they got home, he went psycho. Complete madman. As Lane Kelt said, or I Am Kelt says, Nicole Simpson, well, we don't know. There's reports coming in saying it was a horrifying thing, but any stab wound to anybody and they bleed, it's a horrifying thing. But to me, but the way they're making it sound, they multiple stabs, throats cut. We won't know that until the coroner's report comes out. They piece this all together. I'm sure there'll be reenactment videos, all kinds of stuff. Blood is gory. Yeah, any blood's gory, especially if it's your parents or family. Yeah, that would be very traumatic to see something like that. Even with one wound and it bleeds out, blood everywhere. Ew. Yeah. No, they might not even knew what was going on if they were sleeping. If the first one was a kill shot, hopefully they didn't suffer. It's horrible to talk about, but you dissect everything when you start going through all this stuff, thinking, well, how the heck did this happen? Who called the? We were under the intention when this first came out that there was an altercation at the house, and someone from the house, as this was happening, called saying that they needed assistance there. But now we find out it wasn't until way later that someone called the authorities and found him. Pretty crazy. Let's see what Valdez says. If this goes to trial, all those celebrities might be called as witnesses. It's possible. A couple of them might be called as witnesses to give witness to what kind of mental state Nick was in that night before he went home to his parents. And did he leave? So I imagine they're going to talk to Conan and a bunch of people that were there. And they could be called as witnesses. It's possible. It's possible. Yeah. Yeah. The argument at the party, sure. Sure. Now I don't know, being that there's such high clout, if they would be called to the stand, but I think their statements would be affidavit, and their statements would be able to be used. But it's possible they do call them to the stand, but then you got, then they might be able to say, well, I don't want to testify or whatever. Yeah, Valdez, that's what they were saying. And even before that, he was acting weird. And he just moved back into the house, they said, 2 days before this happened. So, yeah, pretty crazy, if you ask me. And they were just out. He's got Spinal Tap coming out. And I think he was working on some other stuff that was getting ready to come out. And then this happens. Horrible. Just horrible. Then the article said he was living in a guest house for the last 5 years. Well, they paid for it. If he was living on a guest house on the property or anywhere, from what Popcorn Planet said, they paid for it. And I imagine if he did that documentary together or film with his father, he probably got some money from that. And the kid wasn't poor. It's not like he was eating out of garbage cans. He had to be crazy to do something like this. You're throwing your inheritance away. You're throwing your whole life away. He had to be crazy. Completely psycho, Kohlberger crazy. And I know this is going to piss a lot of people off, but you got to run his DNA through codings to see if you get a hit on anything out there. We have no idea. He could be, I don't, where was he before he moved into his parents' house 2 days before this? I mean, if he's that far gone, it's possible he's done something else. So I know it sucks, but it's possible. What party were they at all together that night? Conan O'Brien's. Conan O'Brien's house. I'm still waiting for an invite to hang out with him. Valdez said his got lost in the mail. I believe it. The way the mail's going right now, I believe it. No, we're not famous, so thank God. We don't want to end up dead. So the more money you got in fame, the more they want to kill you. It's gone nuts. Gone completely nuts. I used to have a crush on Conan. Now all the women love Conan. If it ain't Conan, it's Craig Ferguson. All those chicks love him too. You had a crush on Andy Richards? I have no idea who that is, but It's a dude. It's a dude. Yeah, no idea who the heck that is. No, well, there's nothing I could do. There ain't nothing we could do about it. More info will come out. You gotta run his DNA through Codens, the computer, and see if anything hits. And believe me, I hate to say that, but when you do something like this, he's innocent until proven guilty. And his violent reactions towards his parents and people might make him a suspect, but we have no idea unless they got 100% proof that it was him. If you're looking at it through laws and investigation, because last night they said they were holding him on suspicion. Actually, they said they had no suspects, but they wanted to talk to the family. And when it first came out they had him, he was being held for suspicion of murder. Have him say down the hill. I don't know. That has nothing to do with that. It's the Delphi case. He's not the bridge guy. I don't know, but she's right. Lame Kelt is right. He might be down the hill, dude. He just might be. We have no idea. Who knows? Kohlberger might be involved in that stuff out there. You always keep an open mind when it comes to stuff like this. Anything's possible. We know this much. They're saying that Nick didn't drive. So wherever he had to go, he was using Trans Authority or bus or train or plane or friends driving him, or he walked on foot. Start looking through sketches of anything in Brentwood out there, maybe robberies, assaults, and see if he fits the description. If there's any murders and you have DNAs, run it through the Codens thing and see if it hits on any of them murders. Hello, Miss ATS News. We're just talking about Nick Riener and the horrible thing that happened to his parents. And thanks for stopping in. I sent you a message wondering if you were live tonight. Just sitting around hanging, finding out more info as it comes in. But you know what? This is horrible because us people that have family that have disabilities or war, veterans or whatever, you go through this. It's very hard to deal with people with disabilities in your family or whatever. It's very difficult for people to have patience or understand. But Mr. Riener did a good job of doing it. And it's obvious he wasn't going to kick his son out into the street. If he could help his son, he was going to help his son. I'm just having some tea, chilling. I think little Miss Debbie Fox went to bed. She had a rough day. Little lady, hope you're all right there, Miss Fox. But there you go. I think we got pretty much, it's like I said, as time goes by, we're getting info in, and we're reporting on the info. Make sure you go over there to Popcorn Planet's channel and check his channel out. And let me look real quick to see if we got anything else going. See if anything new popped. Here's something that just came out 40 minutes ago, which I think we already know. We know how they tracked him down. There's something that just came out 40 minutes ago. Let's see what's going on. Excuse me.
Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. Good evening once again, everyone. I'm Colleen Williams.
And I'm Michael Brownlee. The couple was found dead inside of their home in Brentwood, sending shockwaves around the world. Here's what we know so far. The couple's 32-year-old son, Nick, is now behind bars, arrested on suspicion of murder. He's currently being held with no bail.
NBC4's Robert Kovacic has been on the story since we first broke the news last night. He is
All right, so now what they're saying, this was just released 40 minutes ago. And now they're saying that he's being held on suspicion of murder. Well, geez. Let's get it right.
is at the home once again. He's been there for quite a while. Robert.
Colleen and Michael, you may be surprised to hear this, but the news of the arrest of Nick Reiner did not come as a surprise to most of Hollywood. There was rampant speculation that he was involved all night long last night. People had been calling me and saying that they believed he was involved, to such a point that when there was a news conference that was held by the LAPD at 9 o'clock yesterday, NBC4 News was there. When the detective in charge and Chief Alan Hamilton were asked specifically, is Nick Reiner a suspect you're looking at? They said at that point they weren't looking for a suspect. Now, we talk about Hollywood being a very small town. As you take a look at video and pictures of Nick Reiner and his father, Rob Reiner, we can tell you that in this small town, there was a very big party on Saturday night. That's the Conan O'Brien Christmas party on Saturday. It's an annual event, apparently very well attended. Now, throughout.
All right, I want you to take a look at them eyes. Them are disgruntled eyes towards someone. Now, I don't know if it's his father that he's looking at next to him or the other guy that's standing next to his sister. But he's got that look of a grudge or something, or just psychotic or something. You know, they're literally saying they reminded them of Kohlberger.
Out the day on Sunday, once news of the murders broke, people were telling me, and NBC News has confirmed otherwise, that there was a fight between a father and son there, that Nick Reiner was acting strangely, and that Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner had apparently expressed to people at the party that they were concerned about their son. So what led to his arrest? And you may be wondering then, why wasn't it more immediate? Well, we asked the LAPD that last night, and the LAPD explained to us that they needed a search warrant to enter the property after officers initially went there and discovered 2 bodies inside here in Brentwood. When they received that search warrant, it seemed like that's how they got the green light. Here is Chief Jim McDonnell earlier today.
Yeah, we use search warrants to be able to further our investigation, as you know, on all of these cases. I wouldn't be in a position to talk specifically about what the object of the search warrant was, but it's a critical piece of our investigations to be able to ensure.
All right, that's where I disagree with that. They were already called to the property once the bodies were discovered to be deceased and dead. Police already on the property, already in the home. Why would you need, it's a crime scene. Why would you need any kind of paperwork to be there? Automatically, that place should have been shut down, and automatically it became a crime scene. I don't know why. I don't know. Even in the O.J. Simpson case out there, automatically, boom, they locked everything down. Whole place was a crime scene from discovering the bodies. They might have had to get paperwork, but they quarantined it all off and they stayed there and started looking at stuff. So that's pretty weird to me. They're called to the property from a family member that has found their family murdered, dead. Police go there, see the see the dead people, but they can't look throughout the house to see if anyone's in there. If they have to wait for warrants or not warrants, but paperwork. I forget the name of what they call it, but search warrants or whatever to look. What are you looking for? You got 2 dead bodies. Of course there might be a weapon there, but I disagree on it. But they did a good job. They got the guy. I'm not complaining. Hopefully they do their investigation real good. Let's keep listening. Yeah, he's got a clenched jaw. I noticed that too. I am Celt. I noticed that too.
Sure, down the road of prosecution.
Investigators have been speaking to all members of the Riener family, trying to figure out.
So Nick Riener was arrested in the Exposition, Vermont area, picked up. NBC4 investigates there. They believe that he may have taken public transportation there since he doesn't drive. Now, when you come back out here live and you take a look, this is the Riener estate where security is in place, as well as I'm looking up and down the street, members of the media from across the country. This is someone who also lived with his parents. Nick Riener lived here with his parents. We still don't know who it was that made the initial call, but NBC4 investigates also has learned that the daughter was here at the home when police arrived. Now, as far as Nick Riener is concerned, the troubled son of Rob Riener and Michelle Riener, who had been in and out of rehab, there was a documentary that was made about him that involved his father. NBC4 has now confirmed that he remains isolated from other prisoners. He's not in general population. He is under a watch, a video watch, if you will. Colleen and Michael, mean that everything he does is being watched and monitored on video. He is not in the prison system per se. He is in a medical ward in the prison system. And Nick Riener right now remains behind bars without bail. When we see you tonight at 7, react.
Yeah, he'd have to be crazy. But here's the thing. They're holding him on suspicion of murder. Well, you only got so long to hold him. You best get on the ball, or you going to charge him. What is the story? Because he's being charged with murder. But clearly this just was released, and it's stating that he's being held on suspicion of murder. So maybe something ain't clicking right away or something, but it don't look good, man. I mean, he could have had time to clean up. He could say, this happened after I left. Because we don't know what happened. He could have had time to take a shower, clean everything, put the dang knife back in the drawer, take a shower, get his stuff, make it look like something else, and left. We don't know. Yeah, I know, Miss ATS News. You put eyeballs in the chat, and I was like, look, I'm looking, I'm seeing. Yeah, it just seems weird because we're getting two sides. I don't know. It's pretty crazy. Let's listen to a little bit more of this, if there's anything left.
To the death of Rob and Michelle Reiner that is still reverberating around the world. I'm Robert Kovacic here in Brentwood. Let's go back to you.
Robert, thank you. Rob Reiner's passion outside of filmmaking was the community and really the culture around it. A progressive political activist, he was a major fundraiser for Democrats at the state and the national level. He was also a passionate defender of marriage equality alongside Governor Newsom.
I was out there feeling a little alone doing same-sex marriage in 2004. It was Rob who reached out. That's how I got to know him, saying he had my back at a time when a lot of members of my own party, the Democratic Party, didn't.
Rob Reiner also started a nonprofit focused on childhood health and education. His activism led to Proposition 10 on the California ballot in 1998, which taxed cigarettes at an additional 50 cents a pack in order to finance First Five. That's the program focused on aiding children and parents. Our coverage continues online right now on NBCLA.com. We'll be posting updates and more tributes on the NBCLA app as well as on all our social pages.
All right. Now, would we agree, Miss ATS News, if you're still in chat, that the acting officers that showed up on the site might have body cam footage of how they found the family? It's obvious they had to make entry into the house. They couldn't just show up there and go off of what two people are saying. Well, there's murdered people in there. All right, we got to wait 6 hours for the coroner to show up before we can go in. And that probably is not what protocol is. I mean, I might be wrong, but if they were called there, I imagine there might be body cam footage of the acting officers that showed up, of actually how they found what they found as they walked through to see the bodies. Right? You just can't go off two people's or one person's word. I imagine they would have had to investigate somewhat and go into the house and see to make sure that it wasn't some kind of crazy call, make sure they weren't being set up to be ambushed. Does that make sense to anybody? We'll have to see. Hopefully it comes out. Now, if it even goes to court, he might plead insanity and just that we may not see all the evidence and exactly what happened. All right, I think I'm done with enough Rob Reiner tonight. I'm gonna make some hot tea. I might have a fire tonight later on, half hour or so. I have a piece of fire, maybe not. But there you go. I mean, it's all unfolding. Make sure you folks check out all the channels that I posted in description and in chat. Great reporting, great YouTube channels. Make sure you check out Miss ATS News. I Am Celt. Valdez. Make sure you check out all their channels. D. Trump and all them guys. Miss Alex Erickson, little Melissa Jade. Miss Jen Liu. Miss crime lies and alibis, or missed crime lines and lies, or whatever. And you folks be safe. God bless. It's cold. It's cold out. The power already went out once for about a minute here, shut completely down. And before I can find my flashlight, the power came back on. So we might be having rolling power outages, being it's really cold out. So you folks have a good night. It's cold out there, but it's nice and toasty in here. Have a good night. I'll be back.